So property tax is, what do you think? Is it ongoing or is it a one-time? If you had to guess. It's an ongoing thing, unfortunately, right? So ongoing, because I will ask you on the test, like, hey, here's 5 expenses. Tell me which ones are ongoing, which ones are one time. So you need to know that, right? Ongoing expense. So you have no excuse, right? It's right there. Unfortunately, this will not make it onto the video. I have an old bill, one of my older property tax bills. So 1 second. There it is. So let me just make this a little bit. Does this work? Highlighter? Does that work? Oh yeah, it does. Nice. Let me see here. How can I undo? Control Z should work, but it doesn't. No. Trying things here, it's not working. Anyways. Do you see the 2 different colors? Like, this is an actual bill. It's hard to see, but you see the pink and the blue, right? So this is an actual property tax bill. I just got mine. School taxes and municipal taxes. The school taxes obviously goes towards paying for the buildings, maintenance, teachers, everything you see gets collected. So all the properties, if you own a home, you pay property taxes. If you own a condo, you pay property taxes. And it is mainly based on what it's worth, what your house is worth. And I need to zoom in a little bit more because I want to show you various components here. Look at my bill. So for education, for schools, I paid, look, I highlighted that right here, right? I paid, they charged me $1,500. This is a couple years ago, right? Just for school taxes. And then for the municipal taxes is for like garbage collection, road repairs, the water and your sewer, right? Like, I mean, there's your water bill that takes care of that as well. But anything like that, anything that has to do with, right, like keeping the streets functioning and stuff like that, that's the municipal, right? So you have your municipal tax and you have your school tax. That's very important to distinguish. Those are the 2 main categories. And look at how much I pay for municipal tax, $2,400 every year. And then my grand total, the net property tax is right here. This is the number I need to pay every year. It has gone up already. Now it's like 44,400, something in that range. And so I would strongly suggest do not just pay it in one lump sum. You will not be able to handle it. I would get a heart attack if I had to pay this, right, in one shot. So there's something called a TIP program. And it's always at the bottom here. It says here, due to your enrollment in the tax installment plan, it's called TIP, right? Your bank knows about that. If you ask them, can I sign up for the TIP program? They'll know exactly what's happening. So look at my payment. I pay $327. Well, now it's $349. I checked. I just got it yesterday. So you pay it every month. Much better than paying it once a year, right? And then you don't have to worry. You will get the bill, but they'll say, don't worry about it. Just keep making your payments, and it comes straight off your checking account, and they take care of the rest, right? So unfortunately, this number goes up every couple of years. Like, as your property goes up in value, so does your property taxes. Now let's go up to the top here. This is probably what you need to make sure you understand. Okay, so watch this. What does it say here? Assessed value. At that time, my house was worth $365,000, and this bill was issued. And it's not accurate at all. Like, it's not like I could probably sell this house for $400,000 at that time. So they just kind of have a baseline. They don't know exactly what the market would give you, but anyways, they send you this is what it's worth. And by the way, the banks, remember equity when I talked about equity? I don't know if you remember the value of your house goes up and what you owe goes down. This is what the banks go by. They're like, your house is worth approximately 365 right now based on the city, and you owe us 300,000. So you have $65,000 equity. So we can give you a loan for $65,000 to buy whatever you want, right? So they base it on this. But watch this. This is what you're getting taxed on. Portion value, which is only 164. And you're like, why is that, right? For some reason, they take the value of your home, right? They take the 45%, they multiply it by what your house is worth, and you only get taxed on the 164,000 in this case. So watch this. If you go down here, watch the 164 shows up right there, right? And they tax you a rate that this is determined by the school division that you live in. You have no say in that whatsoever. You have no say in that. And then here, there's a 164,000 again. And that rate that the municipality you live in, so if it's Garden City, Seven Oaks, like there's like boundaries that you don't know about, but that rate is determined by the area you live in, okay? And it's only based on the portion assessment. So watch another thing. This is the last thing that I'm gonna, well, second last actually. Notice this here, street renewal. So this has been actually going on for a number of years for me. I don't know what street they're talking about, but apparently there was a street in my neighborhood that was redone. And so they charge you over a couple of years, they charge everybody living in that area a certain amount. So I paid like 300 and I just checked yesterday, that 299.32 is still there. So I don't know which street, but apparently we're paying for it, right? So that's important to understand, that there's like extra charges. If they do the sidewalk in your neighborhood, you're paying for it. We all are. Everybody's paying for it. One more thing, you see this Manitoba Education Property Tax Credit. You see that credit there of 700 bucks. So they gave me a credit. They gave me, it's like, hey, a discount, quote unquote. And this is what I want you to understand, though. This is not, I'm not going to test you on this because it changes all the time. But the Pallister government, when they came in power, they ran on one of their things that they ran on was like, we're going to get rid of school taxes. Like, we're not going to charge homeowners this portion. So it's almost like the $1,500 that appear on my bill, they're going to take that off. And you're not going to have to pay for that, which is sweet, right? Like, imagine as a homeowner, you don't have to pay this every year. Pretty sweet. So they're slowly going to get rid of this. That's what they're saying. So I don't know if another government comes along and they're like, no, we're just going to keep it because we need the money. Because you know they need to get the money from somewhere, right? Like, how are they going to pay for school? So you're going to pay for it anyways, but maybe it's less of an impact on your finances. So keep that in mind. I need to watch my time because I need to do one example with you. One more thing, condos, you pay property taxes. If you buy it, you pay. And you might pay almost as much as a homeowner, which doesn't make sense, right? So the city loves condos because that one parcel of land has like 50, 60, 70 units. They're all paying property taxes. So they're getting like $1 million worth of property taxes on that one parcel of land, versus if they spread out all those owners among like a big area, they're just going to collect, right, the same amount in a really big area. Whereas if it's a condo, right, they get all their money with just that one piece of land. Right? So if there's lots of condos, there's more people living there, and they make more money, right? That's why they want downtown. They want to turn a lot of those buildings into condos, right? A mix of condo and business, because those people living there, they're going to pay property taxes, right? Because they're having a problem. There's a lot of vacant buildings, lots of big businesses, and it's just one owner paying taxes on that one thing, versus if they build condos, they're all going to pay property taxes, right? So it's something to keep in mind. And this bill is not going to look the same if you live outside the city. If you live outside the city, it looks a little different. Their school taxes are a little different. They split them sometimes. You'll see in some examples, they have like a school tax 1 and a school tax 2. So because certain farmers, if you farm, you don't pay school taxes. If you farm a certain amount, you don't have to pay one of the school taxes. So it's complicated, but I'm not gonna go that crazy with this. You'll see. You should be able to follow just fine. But I need you to understand that this is real life. This isn't just like a made-up thing, okay? So if you have a highlighter, property tax is composed of 2 subdivisions. There's education and municipal taxes. Property taxes are calculated based on 45% of the value of the entire property. So your building and the lot, right? The value that remains is referred to as the portioned, write this in there, portioned assessment. That's a fancy way of saying this is the taxable portion of your property. So it's almost half. They take a little less than half, right? And they tax you based on that. So overall, portioned assessment is the value of property times 0.45, right? 45%. But you will 99% of the time you will not have to worry about this one. But if they ever give you like, hey, the value of the house is 400,000, like that's the whole value, you're gonna have to multiply that by 0.45 to tax it. Okay. Next, a mill rate. So just pay attention because I'm going to do one example today, right? What is a mill rate? It's basically mill represents a tax of $1 for every $1,000 of portioned assessed value. Don't worry too much. I'll show you. It will be very obvious. Education taxes. There may be, right? There are 2 education taxes, Education 1 and Education 2. Sometimes, I should say, right? Sometimes, not always. And then this is important here. For education, for example, you take the mill rate divided by 1,000 times the portioned assessment. Under the portioned assessment, I'll say taxable portion, so you know. Okay. Then you have, see, so education, that was the pink part in my bill. Then there's the municipal, right? And there you have the general municipal tax as well as local improvements. Okay, so under municipal, you have 2 things that you need to take care of. And so for municipal, you take the mill rate divided by 1,000 and multiply it by the portioned assessment. Local improvements, I would say this on the side, right? Or nah, just leave it. these are based on the cost of improvements, right? And the frontage of your property. What is frontage? It's the front of your property, how wide it is. Width of your property. It's the width of your property. That's what that word means. So the wider your property from end to end, like from fence to fence or whatever, the more you're going to pay for street improvements. So if you get to a neighborhood where you have narrow lots, when there are improvements in the area, you don't pay as much because you take up less space, right? So that's the reasoning behind it. Local improvement tax is the frontage times the cost. Right? Just remember that. How wide your property is times the cost of that particular improvement. And you will see that there's a chart for that. Can I put an arrow here? See table, right? You're gonna have to see the table for that, or I will just plain out give you that whatever the cost is. Now on to the back of this. This is where I summarize everything. So let's go to page 23, and that is the one. If you have room, I don't know what your study sheets look like these days, but I would say this whole thing summarizes property tax. Okay. And this is what I want you to notice, that it's always portion assessment times the mill rate. Right? There are always mill rates given here. So you have your municipal tax, watch this guys, plus the provincial tax, plus the school division tax, plus local improvements, but then there's a minus any credits that may be given. I don't know why, but for some reason, especially on the final exam, students add the credit to the bill. So it's like add, right? That's your final. It's like, so my theory is at that point you're so close to the end, you're like you didn't really listen carefully. But remember, minus credits if they're stated. And I should say that it may be that there are no local improvements, right? In such cases, you just omit that, right? This is just assuming all of these pieces are present. You would just figure it out, add up your answers, subtract any credits if they're given, and then you get your total current taxes. And watch this. Note, sometimes you'll be given the actual tax amount, no mill rate necessary. So I could actually straight up tell you that the municipal taxes are $2,000 for this house, right? There is no mill rate. Don't worry about it. And now the example. So now you need to wake up. So go to page 24, and we're gonna do some calculations there. Okay. Okay, so the Adebio family owns a home. I'm going to grab a different highlighter because I'm always using that one. It says a portioned assessed value of 138,250. So just so you know, this is, right, 45% of the actual value, right? So you can go arrow and point to the, so it's not saying the house is worth 138. It's saying that, right, if you took 45% of the whole value of the home, then this is what we would tax, which is what you want. This is the number you want. You want the portion assessed value, okay? So we're good. The municipal mill rate, watch that. The municipal mill rate is that. Mills, it's always mills, okay? The education mill rate is that. So, okay, you've got two different mill rates already going there. The property has a frontage of 60 feet. So frontage of 60 feet. So it's telling you that this lot, the lot size is 60 feet wide. The family is charged local improvement taxes for road oiling and lane lighting. Anybody know what road oiling is? I have no idea. I don't know what that is, but it is a category in here. My suspicion is road oiling. I live next to a road that has ditches on either side, and the road itself is not like a nice paved road. It's like almost like little rocks in it. And every couple of years they drive with like a big tanker and it just dumps like tar or something over it. And it's very sticky for a couple of days. It actually kind of ruins the car a little bit. And I think that's just to try to seal it so that water can get under it and break the road. So that's my idea for road oiling. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna go get the rates for these two right away. So get your pink chart. That's the only thing you need your pink chart for when you do property taxes is the improvements. If you go to the back, you should find a section that says local improvement costs. Find it, flip through it until you see local improvement costs. There's this table here. And there's all possible improvements that can be made that I can mention. You want to look for lane lighting because that's one of the improvements. I already circled it. That's 180. And the other one is road oiling, which is $8. So let's get these numbers out and bring them with us, okay? So this, we're just gonna put $8 here. $8 a foot, and this was $1.80 a foot for lane lighting. So that's probably putting lights up, right? Or replacing lights. So now we know what we're gonna pay for them, but that more later for that. Let's do some calculation here. I don't like breaking it down like this, but this question does, so we're just gonna keep it like that. Listen carefully. Calculate the total annual education taxes for this particular property. So we're gonna go education tax. Go get the mill rate for it. So you gotta go, and education mill rate is right there. So it's 15.462 over 1,000. If you don't put it over 1,000, you're gonna get a big number and you're gonna be broke, right? You don't want that. You need to divide it by 1,000 and then times 138,250. And let's figure that out. So I'm just gonna grab my calculator here. 15.462 divided by 1,000. I hit equals, then I go times 138,250, and that gives me 2,137.62. So this would be the education taxes by themselves, okay? Then next it says calculate the municipal taxes for this property. You go up and look, the municipal mill rate is given. Not always will they give you one, but in this case they do. So municipal tax is just 11.415 over 1,000 times, again, the portion assessment, right? The part that they're going to tax you on. So I'm going to go 11.415 divided by 1,000 times 138, 250, and that is 1578.12. So for the municipal, it's less, right? Slightly less. And here's where I need to make a little change. Under municipal taxes, I'd like you to also take care of the improvements. So we're going to make a C, insert that C section there. Improvements. Okay, write that in there. Improvements, we're going to take care of that. And so calculate the total here will turn into D. Right, I'm turning that into a D there. So for improvements, we have road oiling. And what we do there is we take the 60 feet frontage of the home and we multiply it by the $8 amount, which gives you 480. I'm gonna, because time is kind of running out here, I'm just gonna give you what that is. So it's 480. And then lane lighting is also 60 feet times, I don't know why, you don't have to put that in brackets, but I do it, I'm just used to it. So 60 feet times $1.80, and that gives you $108. So those are the local improvements, like the street renewal, whatever you want to call that. These are the two charges that will be added to your total bill, which I would put under municipal costs. And here's my total now. It says calculate the total property tax. We're going to take the very first number we got, 2137.62. That's from A, right? Plus 1578.12. That's from B. Plus, I'm going to put that in brackets like this, 480 plus 108. Those are my improvements, right? Are there any credits? I didn't highlight that, sorry. But it does say right here, the family gets a tax credit of $750. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. There's a tax credit. Don't add that, please. We have to subtract it, okay? I'm going to come and find you after marking the final if you do that. Why weren't you listening? Right. Anyways, so you add any taxes that you've calculated, any improvements if mentioned, subtract any credits that are mentioned, and now we have our final. I'm gonna do this, folks, just 480 plus 108, that is 588. Let's just write that down underneath here, right? That's 588. So this plus the 588 minus 750 gives you a grand total of 3,553.74. And these are all yearly amounts, okay? Insurance is yearly, property taxes. Basically, unless we find a monthly payment for our mortgage, everything else is a yearly or annual sum, okay? I'm going to leave it here today. I'm going to park it. I'm not going to AC you on this yet tomorrow. Tomorrow you might just get more land transfer tax or stuff like that. But this will be on the quiz. So I'll practice a little bit more tomorrow.